Hey everybody, it's Lindsay with the Rescue Hour. Woohoo! Do you know who we have here today? Zoe Rosenberg and Sherstin Rosenberg of Happy Hen Animal Sanctuary. And they are going to give you guys a tour. So I wore my overalls and I'm ready to go. I hope you're ready to go with me. Let's bring them on. Ladies, how are you? How are you doing?
We're really good. Hi, welcome everyone to Happy Hen Animal Sanctuary.
We're so happy to have you here.
I was just telling Lindsay that this is the first time I've ever done a virtual tour of Happy Hen Animal Sanctuary. So you guys are in for something new.
Well, heck, everything is like that today with the coronavirus. You know, we have to just wing it. So we'll be fine.
Yes, it'll be awesome. Yeah, I'm so excited to get to share our sanctuary with everybody and have them meet the animals and, you know.
I think everybody is so thrilled to have you ladies here today, and I'm sure we're going to get a lot of comments and a lot of questions, but let's get started. For people that don't know Zoe, let's talk a little bit about what you're up to, Zoe. The amazing, are you still a teenager? I'm sorry to ask that question.
No, you're good. I'm 17. I'm actually turning 18 in like 2 weeks. Yeah, so
oh my God.
I'm also graduating high school on Tuesday.
Graduating high school. You seem like you are an adult. You act just like an adult. And the things you do go way beyond what most adults have done.
Thank you so much.
TEDx talk, some rescues that you've done. You made it onto Dodger Stadium during a game, that whole story. We're going to go into all that, but I think the people want to see a little bit of the farm, a sanctuary. Yep. So whatever you ladies want to show and talk about, I'm going to kind of let you lead the way here.
Sure. Well, Edna's in our big red barn right now. She's taking a nap, but we can say hi to her.
Okay.
Edna recently got a surgery, which was live streamed on this page. And let's see if she'll say hello.
I'm going to go get her apples.
Okay, she's going to go get her some apples. So hopefully she'll get up and she'll say hello. But yeah, Edna.
I'll show some pics while you're talking.
Some picture. Yeah, that's Edna. She was rescued from a factory farm when she was just a couple weeks old. And her face was covered in blood. She was really sick. She'd been taken from her mom really young, just like, you know, animals are in the industry. As we know, they're taken from their mothers when they're just a few weeks old, and in some cases even younger. So she, you know, was so sad without her mom and just had a really hard time as a baby. But she grew up and she became a strong, healthy pig. And then she started to have some issues with her back legs. She had joint problems, and then she also ended up struggling with some infections in her feet, which is why she ended up needing the surgery. So it was a $10,000 surgery.
Wow.
She's not getting up. She's like, I want to take a nap. Come on,
We've got these apples, and I'm rattling the bag here, trying to.
Oh. $10,000 surgery. Wow. So how do you guys pay for? Do you have funding, or how do you pay when one animal $10,000? That's a lot of money, and you have so many animals.
Yeah. So, you know, really the thing is these animals like Edna are part of our family, and so
there she is.
When they get sick, just like, you know, if your grandpa was sick and you couldn't afford the surgery that he needed, you might just go ahead and get the surgery done anyway, right? Because
of course,
it's not an option to not save grandpa.
Of course.
So that's kind of what we did with Edna too. You know, we didn't really have it was actually $10,500. And we're actually going on $15,000 and plus in expenses for her since this all started. Because after the surgery, she had a lot of rehabilitation, and she wants more apples. Sorry, guys. She loves her apples.
She says, since you got me up, I'll give you some apples, darn it.
Yeah, she can't get it up.
Well, you know, ladies, there's some Deb V loves says, love you, Zoe, say you at Asheville Vet. Saw you last year.
Oh.
Yeah. So we got a lot of people. Tina Walker's watching, Gabriel Sicarelli and Bonnie Clapper saying hi.
Oh, hi, Bonnie. So good to have you on.
And
yeah, so anyway.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Yeah. So anyway, we definitely need donations.
Yes.
If anyone can help us with Edna, yeah, that would be just really fantastic because
Gabriella says post
when our animals
donation
get
site.
sick, it's just not an option for us to
Right.
not care for them.
Excuse me for interrupting. Gabriella says post donation site. Gabriella, what do you mean? Do you, it's happyhen.org/donate. It's right there on the screen for you. Okay, sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to let her know about that.
Yeah,
Go
no,
ahead,
definitely.
Gabriella.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so the process of after Edna had the surgery, which was actually, I don't know if Zoe mentioned while I was getting the apples, we actually had a really hard time finding a veterinarian that would even do the surgery because I guess because she's a pig and they just didn't have the same philosophy that we had. They just thought we should euthanize her. They thought it was such a serious problem that, you know, they didn't want to do the surgery. They didn't want to take the chance. And so once we finally did find a surgeon to do the surgery on her, you know, she required every week she had to be anesthetized and have her bandages changed. So I did all that here at the sanctuary because, as some of you guys might know, I'm a veterinarian, and I was able to do all that at cost. So
Wow.
Even at cost, though, the medications and the bandage materials and everything ran about $300 a week, and so it was pretty expensive because that went on for 8 weeks. And then just a couple weeks ago, it was the most exciting day. And if you go onto our website and look under blog, you can see the story about saving Edna. But
yeah, that was really nicely written. Everyone should go and take a look at that. Sorry, I'm saying that was really nicely done, and everyone should go to your website and take a look at that because it's a really great story.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So now we're outside. It looks like it's starting to rain.
It's starting to rain. Oh darn.
That's
a little bit. It's kind of refreshing, actually.
You know, while you're walking around, let me just give people a little preview of what the pictures, where you are, and I think it's going to put it in context. So, but before I do that, I have to show these beautiful, beautiful. Who are these two folks here?
That is Eddie the sheep and Buddha the cow. Buddha's right over here. We can introduce you to him in a minute. But Eddie was rescued from a slaughterhouse a couple years ago, the Saba Slaughterhouse in Oakland, California, during an open rescue by Direct Action Everywhere. Over 20 activists were actually arrested in saving Eddie. And yeah, he was rescued that day. He was super sick. He had this horrible virus that was causing these pox pores to come up all over his face. And Buddha was rescued from the dairy industry. So, you know, like all male calves. Oh, we've got some goaties here.
Oh, wow.
Some goats here that are really enjoying their...
Fantastic.
Oh, here comes Rosa.
Oh, wow. This is great.
Hey, Rosa.
She knows they like hay, so she's like, where's the hay?
So this is Chopper. Chopper the goat. He was rescued from a small farm in Southern California, and they were going to send him to slaughter. And then, whoa!
Well, wait a minute. Who eats goat meat? I mean, do I sound silly when I ask? But slaughter for people.
Yeah, a lot of people eat goat meat. It's actually very popular, and like even in the Future Farmers of America and 4-H programs, which are the programs that teach like, you know, young students how to, you know, the animal agriculture practices. So these are the people who go into the industry. They teach them to raise goats. That's one of the most common species that they have people raise because people like to eat goats, I guess.
Well, goats are actually one of the most eaten species around the world.
That's incredible. I never knew that. I mean, they don't sell goat at the grocery store, do they? Do they sell?
Not like your standard big grocery store like Safeway or whatever.
Not at American grocery stores, but
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, well, let's tell you about Rosa. This is
Yes.
Rosa.
This is Rosa, our cow, who was rescued from the dairy industry. And she actually came here when she was only about 4 days old. And she, believe it or not, she had not received colostrum from her mother, which is actually unusual in the dairy industry for a female cow. The males commonly do not receive colostrum, which is what gives them their strength and immunity as they grow older. But Rosa had not been given her colostrum either. And so she was very sick. She actually had pneumonia. She almost died. Had she stayed on the farm, she definitely would have died.
So the mother's milk is taken from the babies, correct? From the calves. And so, so tell a little bit more about how that colostrum thing works, because I don't know that everyone knows, if you wouldn't mind.
So, and it's the same with humans. All mammals make colostrum. So when a female mammal has a baby, they produce colostrum in their breast milk. And that's the type of milk that comes out for the first 2 days. It's a yellow color. And it is full of antibodies. This is Buddha doing
Buddha says, "You're not paying attention to me, and I'm very upset about it."
Oh my gosh, he's beautiful.
Buddha kind of has a similar story to Rosa, so it's fine that he's in the picture right now, honey. Because he also came from a dairy and he did not get colostrum, and he also had pneumonia, really severe pneumonia. In fact, he was even sicker than Rosa, and he had fevers for the first 6 months of his life. And we had to treat those fevers every single day to keep him alive. He was on antibiotics for the first 6 weeks of his life. So, I mean, these dairies that these animals come from are just horrific in terms of the care that the animals receive and how sick they are.
Right.
And they really don't receive veterinary care. And the most horrible thing is how the babies are just taken right away from the mothers. The moment that they're born, they're just pulled away. And
so cruel.
Their bond with their babies is just like ours as humans.
Right.
And you know, those of us who have kids and those of us even who don't have kids, we all have mothers, right?
Yes.
Can you imagine being pulled away from your mother and how that would feel? And so to me, that's the most horrific story of the dairy industry. And then you have the fact that the males are basically garbage to the industry. So Buddha would have been garbage. And here we call him our puppy dog. He's like a giant puppy dog. I don't know if you can see on the video how large he is, but maybe try to get it.
He's taller than me, if you can see. I'm not very tall, but he is taller than me.
Yeah, and he's actually still growing because these guys grow until they're 6 years old. And he's only, he's almost 3 years old now. So he's still growing. So he's going to be a very large boy. But as you can see, he's just such a sweetheart. So he's part of our family here. All the animals here are part of the Happy Hen family. And so when they get sick, they get the care that they need because, you know, not giving them care is not an option. Now, these guys eat a huge amount of hay every day. And so we spend about $1,000 a month on hay just to feed 2 cows. So that's another place where donations go if anybody wants to help out with feeding these guys. We've been hit really hard with COVID-19 and
you have the opportunity to feed Buddha. Let's just put it that way.
Yes, look into his eyes.
You have the opportunity to feed Buddha.
So Buddha he's a riot because when he gets hungry, he moves and he cries, and like I just can't even imagine if we didn't have the money in the bank to buy him hay and feed him, because that would not be okay.
He
It's still muted.
No, it's unmuted.
Oh.
Yeah, I just
okay.
muted it because you couldn't hear me. When I was talking to you, you couldn't hear me. So sometimes I think I'm gonna have to mute it so you know because I was going, wait. And then I was drowning you out, so it doesn't help, they can't hear you either. So just had to kind of get your attention. Okay. I want to show a couple more videos because we're seeing really close-up views, and that's great. But let's just let people see the scope a little more, okay?
Sounds good.
More. Great. It wouldn't go off. Wait. So I have, which other one do I have? I have one I just played. Here we go. All right, that was great. Why don't you talk a little bit about, can you tell us where that area is and just give us an idea of what we're seeing?
Yeah, so that was the lower coop, which is down on the other side kind of the hill a little bit. So we call this the upper coop and the lower coops. So the lower coops is chickens, ducks, and 1 turkey and 2 quails. Well, 3 quails, I guess. One of them's not in there right now, but usually he is. So they all live down at the lower coop in our big barn. And then up here is the upper coop where we've got our big red barn and our other barns where all the large animals live. So that's the goats, the pigs, the cows, the sheep, all those guys live up here. And that's where we are right now.
So the picture I'm showing right now, is that where you are?
Yeah, so that's the red barn. So we had all the turkeys. We had all the turkeys in there when they were first rescued from a slaughterhouse in Utah.
Why don't you talk about that for a minute? Sorry, Zoe, can you talk about that a little bit, that rescue you guys did?
Yeah, so we had our in direct action everywhere. We had some of our investigators get charged with felonies for investigating a factory turkey farm in Utah called Norbest, and Norbest then sold the company to Pittman Farms, which is obviously a different turkey and chicken meat company, and he disagreed with the charges. He, obviously he's not an animal rights activist. He's not.
I don't want to really name companies and things like that. So, and we invite them on at any time to tell their side of the story. But just like general, there was a huge turkey rescue that we were part of, and they went to how many different? Where did they go to? It was in Utah, and then they went all over the world. Is that correct?
Well, all over the country, yeah.
All over the country, yes. I meant to say.
Yeah. No worries. So yeah, they basically decided to release 100 turkeys to us, and so we were able to coordinate that rescue and coordinate placement of these 100 turkeys. And then this past fall, we were able to coordinate the rescue of 20 more, and we have a good relationship with the company. So hopefully we'll be able to save more lives with them in the future too.
Wow, that's fantastic. Let's see. Let me show, you were talking before, we showed that one. Okay, I think you talked about that. Should we just kind of look at some of your activism since we're sort of on that subject right now? Do you want to do that?
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, what are you doing? Now it looks like they were calling the police.
Yeah, so they're calling the police. The slaughterhouse manager's over here. I'm chained here. Julian's chained here, and I'm chained right here, so that they won't be able to open the gate and they won't be able to bring the cow in.
So we're gonna have to actually leave and interrupt the process out here.
I'm not gonna leave until the cow is sent to a sanctuary.
Okay, no, that's okay. So I have to give everybody a forewarning.
Yeah, sure.
That if you don't leave, you're gonna have to forcibly
Well, we
take
want
it
to see
away.
this. We want to see this cow go to a sanctuary so she can live the life that she deserves. So we've got all of these activists here.
So we've got police
And again,
approaching us. It
we're all-
looks like there's
and
also
a lot of
a
people are holding
fireman
up
coming.
Peace signs because we are here in peace and love for everybody. You know, even the
Hey,
slaughterhouse
folks, my name is
workers.
Officer Riley with the
we want-
University Police
we want
Department.
love for the police officers. We want
Wow. How did that feel to go in there and do that? I mean, that must have been scary.
Yeah, so hi, sir. So the slaughterhouse where I chained myself, I'd actually gone a week earlier and jumped into the slaughterhouse chute and pleaded for the life of a pig who we named Dana. And I'd asked that she be released to our sanctuary. They did not release her, and I was eventually dragged out by the police. And I felt really horrible that I, hadn't been able to save her, and that I didn't really go all the way in trying to do what's best for her. Because in the end of the day, I left, right? So I knew that there was going to be a cow slaughtered about a week later. So I said, I'm gonna chain myself to the slaughterhouse, and the only way that they can get me out is if they cut me loose and arrest me. So that's exactly what I did. So just as they were bringing the cow in, who we named Justice, which then launched the Where is Justice campaign at the university where the slaughterhouse is. And I chained myself to the slaughterhouse chute so that they were unable to bring her into the slaughterhouse. And she was not killed that day. I was arrested, and as far as we know, she was killed another day. But we were able to basically our entire city, San Luis Obispo, nobody knew that there was a slaughterhouse on our university campus. And now basically in the course of an hour, we were able to make it so that every single person practically in our entire town knows that there's a slaughterhouse on campus, which is just shocking.
So you were able to bring some awareness to the situation, which is amazing. We got a couple of comments here. Asu Kumar says, Deb V. Love, hi. And then Lisa Carlin says, donate at happyhen.org/donate. And Tina Walker says, what a cutie. And Sharon really says, love this. So I guess people are really digging on this. You guys, let's just, here, watch one more here. Wow. So tell us about that one, Zoe. Oh my God, how do I do that? That's horrible.
Yeah, so there are a few different actions there. So I have run onto 2 sports fields now. When I was 14 years old, the first time I was arrested was for running on the Dodger baseball field in Los Angeles after an investigation at the supplier who supplies to the meat at Dodger Stadium. So I ran onto the field with a banner that said "Animal Liberation Now," and I was actually called un-American by Breitbart News. And then about a year ago, I think it was, a year and a half ago or so, I ran on to the field at the NCAA National Championship game at Levi's Stadium with a banner asking for the right to rescue, for people to support the right to rescue, because the farm that supplies chicken to Levi's Stadium is the same farm that is prosecuting activists for saving the chickens from the farm.
How did you get on the field? Talk about that.
Well, believe it or not, security is really bad at these places.
Really? Oh, I
you
bet they're going to be mad at you for saying that.
And like you're going to the NCAA national championship game. We were expecting like heavy duty. We were like, I've done this before, but I was like, this is gonna be like Dodger Stadium, but like 10 times more security. Like, I don't know if we're gonna be able to pull this off. Like we were going in like, there's a good chance the security is gonna be so good, we're not gonna be able to do this. So we had bought the cheapest tickets we could, and so then we so that's how we got into the stadium, right? We had the tickets. And so there's the section, since it's such a big game, the section right next to the entrance of the field is for like people who've paid like $2,000 for their tickets, like really expensive tickets. So we were like, there's no way that the security to get into that area isn't going to be like really intense. We just walked right in. They didn't say anything.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I bet afterwards they really got a lot of flack about that being so loud. Yeah. But that was great for you. So
yeah,
wow.
As I was walking, I walked down. I had to walk down all these stairs to get to the field. And as I'm walking down, there was a security guard standing there, gave me a weird look, and I was like, hi, and just acted like I was supposed to be there, and then I started running.
That's so funny. Oh wow. So should we continue the tour, Sherstin?
Yes, yeah, let's do it.
Okay,
So,
good. Oh, you got a sky full of clouds there, so hopefully it doesn't rain. But go ahead.
Yeah, I think we're good. I don't think it's gonna pour or anything. So right now is kind of everybody's nap time, like kind of late morning nap time. But Mr. Tumnus is over here, and he is a goat. And we're trying to get him in the.
Let me get him in the shot.
There we go. There we go.
So Mr. Tumnus, now he's gonna go away. Okay,
he's kind of shy.
Yeah, you got to see Mr. Tumnus. Anyway, yeah, he was going to be sent to an auction, actually by our local Humane Society, or our local Animal Services, which unfortunately tends to send a lot of farmed type animals to auctions, or even they send a lot of chickens to be eaten at an organization called Zoo to You. So
yeah, let's not name those organizations.
So I'm sorry.
So we don't want to name organizations or anything. Just keep it general, please.
Yes. So anyway, but Mr. Tumnus was rescued from that situation. Over here we have Daisy, our pig Daisy. And she was rescued from a large commercial factory farm about 4 years ago. And she's got some kind of lasting health problems because of where she came from. She actually has epilepsy,
beautiful,
believe it or not. And
epilepsy?
Sorry. Epilepsy. So she has seizures. And you can imagine she weighs about 600 pounds. So you can imagine what it's like when a 600-pound animal has a seizure. Oh
my gosh.
She generally starts by backing up, and then her whole body just tremors, and she completely loses control of her actions. And so it's actually very dangerous for any humans that are around, and even, of course, other animals that are around. But she is on phenobarbital, which is a common medication for epilepsy. In fact, a lot of human epileptics take phenobarbital, and she gets phenobarbital twice a day. And that's costing about $2,000 a year just to keep her on that medication, to keep her seizures under control. She still has about every month or two, she'll have a seizure. But without the medication, she would be, I don't think she would be with us still. But, other than the epilepsy, she's a pretty healthy pig. She has had some joint issues though. When she came to us, she had pneumonia from the farm that she was on, and she did have some septic arthritis as well, from the filthy conditions on the farm that she came from. But
wow, that's really
got 40 acres here. She's got lots of space to roam. She's got a mud pond. And
well, let's look around some more in case it starts raining. Can you just maybe do some wide shots so we can see a little bit more of it? I think that would be really good. Let's do that now.
Yeah, so this is again our upper coop area. So this is like what we kind of call the main part of the pasture, just because it's kind of where everyone likes to hang out when they're just chilling. And then we've got the pig sheds here, so the pigs like to take naps in here. And then they've got access to this whole upper hillside up here.
That's beautiful.
And then we've got this big area here, and then also we've got a huge several acres down there where the animals have access to, on the other side of the barns.
And why don't we head down to the ICU yard right now?
Okay. How many helpers do you guys have to keep everything going?
Okay, so we have right now we have 5 employees. I think that's right. Yeah, it takes a lot. Every day we figured out it's between 15 and 18 hours of work that needs to be done in addition to my time and Zoe's time. So when I say, we have 5 or 6 part-time employees, that's not including Zoe and I. And of course, Zoe and I don't earn any income. So we're donating our time. But yeah, it's a lot of work, and it's every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I literally do not get days off, and I don't say that at all with bitterness or resentment. Right. I actually love my job, but I do not get days off because these animals need me every single day of the year.
Oh, this is Bruce and Willow.
Oh, wow. Let's look at these guys.
So this is Willow, the black and white duck, and then Bruce is walking away. But these two are obviously ducks. They have a little puddle here they're playing in. But Willow was rescued from a feed store where she was being sold for like $2, and she was in bad shape. And then Bruce, the duck, he was rescued from a big factory farm, and he's got some health issues, so he walks kind of funny, but he's a pretty happy dude.
Oh, how old are they?
Shuts up very good. Bruce is less than a year old. Bruce is like maybe 8 months old. And then
actually no, Bruce just is about a year. It's about a year. I just was looking.
Oh, okay. I can see how he's walking.
Yeah, Willow's probably like 2.5.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so how long will they live? How long do they live?
Well, it's hard to know for sure. It depends if they have any health issues, but they could live several years. They could live, they could live another year, or they could live another 10 years. It's just kind of, you don't really know. It's ducks.
So a duck's lifespan is about 10 years. Is that correct?
If they're healthy, yes.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
would be
so
more
cute.
like for a wild duck. I think, if these guys live 5 to 7 years, given their genetics, that would be a really good life. And for that to happen, requires a lot of specialized care. this is our ICU yard where we take care of animals that are sick or in need of special care. A lot of them have special needs and they have trouble walking or eating.
Wow.
And right we have, I think, about 26 ducks. We have, I think, 8 ducks here in the ICU that are getting care. So that kind of tells you how much care they need. And one thing I try to impress on people too is that farm animals, as we've bred them in the industry, they are not healthy animals. These are not like their wild counterparts.
So when someone's eating them, if someone's eating them, they're not eating a healthy animal, and that's something that should be stressed, right?
Absolutely. It's unbelievable how sick these animals are. All of the birds that die here at Happy Hen Animal Sanctuary, they go for necropsy, and almost invariably they have some type of infection, and that's with them living here at the sanctuary. Usually the animals that pass, we have a whole bunch of ducks over. Okay. We're going to head over here to look at little Santiago. He's
okay.
Here's Santiago.
Oh my God. Is that the one that you had the picture with, Zoe?
Yes, on her head.
We can put him on my head right now.
I love that picture. I used it for the meme. It was so good. I loved it.
Santiago.
Yeah, so Santiago was actually dumped down in a canyon in Southern California, and
wow,
somebody was riding past on their bicycle and found him, and he ended up here. So that was probably 6 or 7 years ago.
Wow, so he's doing really well. So
he is doing so well.
We don't know whether he was in a factory farm situation or a backyard farm.
We would assume he was in a backyard farm since he's a bantam, which is a mini chicken. So they're not really used commonly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's a rooster.
Good to know.
So that goes, roosters are a whole nother thing. And now that people want to have backyard chickens,
yes,
roosters have become a huge issue because roosters crow, as you know, and they don't only crow in the morning when you want them to. They crow all day and usually all night as well. And so most neighborhoods are just not zoned for roosters. And even neighborhoods that are zoned for roosters, people get a lot of complaints from their neighbors. And so one of our most common by far phone call that we get from people is, can you take my rooster?
Oh, wow.
And it's very tragic. And it's now that everybody seems to want to have backyard chickens for the eggs, we have just thousands, just in California alone, thousands and thousands of roosters that just don't have placement. There just are not enough sanctuaries.
I want to say that I've noticed a trend, and I'm on some other social media networks, and I noticed a trend just today. Instagram, a young man I know from another social media network bought 120 baby chickens. He was holding one and saying that he and his wife were starting. They're going to start a egg farm, and I don't know. He probably comes from. From the South or from somewhere where there was a rural area where he maybe had some training, but who knows? And I think there's a lot of cases where people feel like the food has, they know about the food supply, so now they're going to grow their own. Do you see that as a trend coming, Sherstin? Can you address that?
Absolutely. I think people are looking for ways that they can be self-sustaining because of the coronavirus, and even just because people like the idea of having, knowing where their food came from. And so what this is doing is it's highlighting how unsustainable it is to eat eggs, because for every hen that someone buys as a chick to keep in their backyard, there's a rooster too. Because just like every other species, half the babies are male and half are females, right? So what happens to all those roosters when everybody wants hens? Where do they go? And
Can you
and
come
then the other
closer to
problem
the camera?
too
Because, sorry, Sherstin, can you come closer? Because the noise is drowning you out some of what you're saying. Yeah,
Sorry.
just come in closer. So I'm sorry. No, don't be sorry. It's just, we're dealing with a little bit of a different situation. We're doing great, I think. So please
Yeah,
don't be
I think so
sorry.
too.
Yeah,
No,
go ahead.
we do have a lot of background. As you can hear, we have a
Yeah.
lot of background
Maybe
noise
can you
here.
guys move to another area? Would that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Let's find Diane. Who's Diane?
Say that. Say again.
We're looking for a hen named Diane.
Oh, okay.
Because otherwise it'll get copyright.
Where's Diane?
Wow.
Diane,
Tell us where we are now. Where are we?
Yeah, this is the ICU. So this is where all of our special needs and sick animals go. So at night they go in these crates to get care, and in the day they have outdoor pens out here. It's backlit, but they have an outside area. So yeah, this is our ICU setup.
And let's show you the office and the
Sure.
exam room where
Please
we
do.
our treatment.
And I want to come back to that point about these backyard farms a little bit more too, but let's see all this first. Go ahead.
Okay.
So this is the exam room. This is the exam table.
Wow.
Yeah. Our office is over there.
It's so fantastic that you have a veterinary clinic on your farm sanctuary, and that you can really cut costs by being able to take care of so many animals yourself. That's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's a really huge benefit. And as far as I know, we're the only farm animal sanctuary that has a full-time on-site veterinarian. And because of the fact that I do donate my time and I'm able to purchase medications at cost, Happy Hen is able to just provide a really high level of veterinary care for all of our animals at an incredibly low cost.
That's phenomenal.
So, and that's where the dollars are going when people donate to Happy Hen.
And that's really important because people really want to know, they want to know that what they're putting their hard-earned dollars on are really helping animals. And it's incredible. I mean, I was writing my will, and there's many organizations out there, but people want to work with the people that are being most effective, obviously, and you guys are doing a phenomenal job here.
Yeah, thank you. I do pride myself on the fact that really pretty much every penny from every dollar. I mean, we don't do marketing, we don't do things like that. So it's going for food for the animals, to pay for our staff, which, trust me, they do not make high wages.
I can imagine. They're animal lovers as well, probably.
Industry, so
yeah,
but that care, the care that our incredible staff provides every day, day in and day out, on holidays and weekends, to the animals, I mean, that's invaluable. That's the most important thing that they receive, because every single coop, every single barn gets cleaned out every single day. The animals get observed. We have a very competent staff. I mean, one of our animal care people, she's actually a nurse, a human nurse. So she's, and we have, someone that just has years and years of experience caring for farm animals. We have an incredible staff. So these animals are getting top-notch care.
That's phenomenal. Is there anything else in the veterinary clinic you want to show us in your clinic?
I don't think so. I'm thinking maybe it would be a good idea to go down to our lower cube area so people could see what our lower cube area looks like.
And while we're walking, I just want to give you a comment that someone's have you address this. Male chicks get ground up of course we know, at day 1 en masse. That's the reason I quit eggs years ago. It's unbelievable. Truth is really so much worse than 15 animals. Keep up the good work. Zoe and Sherstin. But on that subject of these, I want to go back to the backyard hatcheries and so forth.
Right.
It's unfortunate, but I think what's going to probably happen is it is going to drive more people to become vegan. Because that they're going to see that they're in. I mean, what you guys do is so phenomenal. The amount of the work you do. I think it would be great if someone like myself came to stay at a place like that for a couple of days and went live every day and showed how much work is involved that for what you're doing to keep that place going. And yeah, and I think it's going to make people realize that it is not sustainable. Do you guys want to address that for a moment?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Yeah, this is one of my big issues because, like, for example, so our operating costs at Happy Hen Animal Sanctuary are $15,000 a month right now. If we were selling the eggs for a profit, I'm not sure. I haven't done the math, but we would have to be selling them for at least $1 an egg, and that might not even cut it. Like, there's just no way that you can provide this level of care to animals and that we provide here. And this is the idyllic place that, like, people want to believe that the animals that they eat and the eggs that they eat come from a place like this, right? But
Yes.
There's no way. I mean, the amount of money that they would have to spend just for one egg, or for a pound of meat, to have this kind of life would be unaffordable, even for very wealthy people.
So what happens is the animals suffer, get sick, and it might even make people sick because look at wet markets. So,
right.
I mean, I remember when I was a child, my parents got me a baby chick. And right after that, I got very ill. The poor baby chick, I was so little. I got very ill and I got, I think autoimmune diseases. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not claiming this, but I think it was my point is, I think it was very unhealthy. And if you don't know what you're doing and you start up something like this, backyard farm, that is, that could be, and all of these people, a lot of people are thinking of doing this. So I'm seeing that trend. And I'm so happy you're getting the word out to how serious this could become a serious thing. And of course, it's going to suffer the animals, of course. And us.
Right. And what happens, people get the chicks from a feed store. Some of them turn out to be roosters. And I think that is really, it's raining here, so we're coming inside the barn. So, that's really impacting a lot of people because I get calls from people who have gotten very attached to their rooster and that they're not allowed to keep their rooster because of the zoning laws where they live. And I think it does bring people's attention in a very serious way to the situation with roosters and the fact that it's just not sustainable because hens come with roosters, but nobody wants roosters. And yeah.
Well, I'm glad we touched on that. So what's next, ladies? What do you think?
Well, it's pouring now.
Oh, yeah, let's talk
It's
about
pouring.
The Australorps here. So we see here 2 black Australorps.
Oh, okay.
We actually rescued 20 black Australorps back in December from an egg farm in Dixon, California. Basically the hens were going to be killed because they were no longer laying enough eggs. They were about 2 years old, and it was no longer profitable for the farm to be selling or to be feeding them because they weren't laying enough eggs to make a profit. And so we went in and we rescued, and other sanctuaries also did their part, and we were able to rescue quite a few of these black Australorp hens from this farm.
So how many animals do you have now? I think you may have said it, but I didn't catch it. How many do you have right now?
We have about 250 animals.
Wow.
And that would include chickens, turkeys, ducks, geese, pigs, sheep, goats. Did I forget any species? Quail. We have so many species, it's hard to remember all of them, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we actually have quite a lot of roosters. So that's one thing I would tell people is that you could probably rescue more roosters than you think you can. We have more than 50 roosters here at Happy Hen Animal Sanctuary, and it can be a challenge sometimes. You know, they do fight with each other, but
and it's hard to get them adopted. I mean, there are other places to get them adopted too. So, yeah,
it's almost impossible to find a home for a rooster. Anymore. So, so let's go and take a look. Sorry, it's raining. So
yeah, that's okay.
Is there any issue with us being out in the rain?
Well, it could break your phone.
Oh, okay. Well,
let's see.
Okay, so yeah.
Can you cover? There's no way to protect it.
Here's our duck pond that Sherstin is cleaning right now.
Oh, okay. You grow vegetables? I see behind there.
Members.
Okay.
And I don't think we really talked about the duck rescue that we
Why don't you talk about that we have about we have 9 minutes left actually.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that, Zoe?
Anthony says you two are awesome, and Tina says, wow, this place is beautiful. There's lots of options that are plant-based. I heard it's yummy, go vegan, somebody said. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
This is Serena. She was rescued from a small farm in Santa Barbara. Their chickens got to the age of 3 years old, and they decided that they no longer wanted them because they weren't producing as much eggs as before, which is kind of another issue with the backyard egg industry, is that, these chickens, they don't lay eggs their entire lives. Eventually they stop laying eggs. And because so many people buy them for their eggs, people don't want them once they start laying less eggs. So that was what was going to happen to Serena. She was going to be killed because she was laying not as many eggs as she used to. But now she's here and she's a happy girl. She's a total mischief maker.
You can stay still a little bit because it was getting a little too shaky.
Yeah,
maybe if you're walking while you're talking, it's hard to. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, just wanted to let you know. Go ahead. So, Sherstin, who do you have there?
This is Ari. Do you want to tell her story? Do you want to tell her story, Zoe?
Sure. So this is Molly. She was rescued from a slaughterhouse in the Bay Area. There's actually a girl who has who's friends with the owner of this slaughterhouse. So she was able to get Molly released and brought to Sanctuary. So Molly's a super sweet girly. And
I wanted to ask you, some of them have their crown. I don't know what it's called.
It's called a comb.
Comb. That's right. Comb. Some of them flop over. Is that because they're unhealthy, or is that because? Can you talk about that just for a moment? I've always wondered about that.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and the answer is yes and no. So, and I'm going to put Molly down. She's getting.
Yeah, I know it must be hard to hold them still. You guys are doing an amazing job.
Yeah. So, but actually, the comb can be a sign of health. Interestingly, when we first rescue white leghorn hens from the industry, they tend to have light pink, very large floppy combs that actually cover their eyes and they can hardly see. But then once they've been here for a while and been out in the sun, they have more perky combs.
Oh, okay.
But a sick hen will often start to have a dry, droopy comb, and sometimes it'll get a really dark red, unhealthy color, and that tells me that they might have a systemic bacterial infection going on. So yeah, I definitely use the comb as an indicator of health.
Wow. Well, there you go. I didn't even know that, but it just looks so unhealthy. Sometimes when you see them coming straight out of rescue. Have you dealt with any that have had I know that their bones are so weak they can't hold themselves because they're grown now. Those would be that coming straight out of a factory farm, right?
Right. So they often have osteoporosis when they've
Yeah.
been, laying eggs, because they lose actually 30 times the weight of their skeleton annually, just in the weight of the calcium in the eggs. And so imagine if you were having to basically replace your skeleton 30 times over every year because you were laying eggs. So these animals are very prone to broken bones. In fact, there was a study done some years ago that showed that once egg-laying hens are destined to be killed at the farms, and they pull them out of the cages, and they used to send them to slaughter sometimes, and they figured out that an average of 4 bone fractures would happen to each
Oh
chicken.
my God.
So that's how bad the osteoporosis is. So that's another issue with handling these guys. And I deal with a lot of people contact me about their chickens and bring chickens to me to treat. And this year we've had a lot of issues with low calcium. We have quite a few chickens that we're treating here, and a turkey too, that have low calcium. And it's because of the egg laying, and it's because we have bred these animals to lay just an obscene number of eggs.
Right.
Way more than they ever would naturally.
I have another question for you. Lisa Carlin is commenting and saying, can you talk about the chicken's use for capital? Can you just address that for a moment? I'll put you guys both on so you both can talk about it. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that question, Lisa. Yeah. I was actually thinking the same thing as I was talking, because the caparot chickens caparot is a religious ritual that's done in certain very Orthodox Jewish religious sects. And what they do is they actually hold the chicken by their wings and wave them around the head and say a prayer.
Right.
And
just really quickly, because she doesn't like to be held. This is.
Oh yes.
This is Judy. She was rescued
Aw.
from Capro ritual slaughter.
Wow.
4 years ago, almost now.
No, I think it was more like 6 years ago. She's been with us for a long time.
But she was really
Aw.
sick when she first got here. She couldn't walk. Her leg was totally broken and bruised. And she was doing really badly, but she's doing a lot better now. These guys, we rescued several of them. They were the most terrified chickens we've ever rescued, because they had watched thousands of their friends get slaughtered in this horrific way at the ritual. So this is Judy, and she probably wants it down because she doesn't like to be held, but I wanted her to come share her story real quick.
Thank you so much. And ladies, believe it or not, we are just about out of time. We have a minute left. So what can people do to help?
Yeah, so if you want to help, it would mean the world to us, because we can't do this without your support. We can't save animals without the help of people like you. And, as you can sign up actually to donate monthly at happyhen.org/donate. You can sign up to donate monthly for as little as $5 a month. And it seriously goes a long way, because it actually helps sustain our work long term and allow us to keep going into these factory farms and these slaughterhouses and taking animals out and rehabilitating them and providing them lifelong care. And we can't do it without, sustained supporters. So if anybody signs up to become a monthly donor, I will send you a handwritten thank you letter, because it really does mean the world to us.
That's great. Thank you so much. And I'm sure a lot of people will be wanting to do that. I did want to ask you, also mention that if people on your birthday, they can do little fundraisers, GoFundMe. There's a lot of ways people can help that way as well. Do you guys ever have tours where people can come and pay to do a tour and support you that way? And when are those tours and so forth?
Yeah, so we don't have any tours scheduled right now because of coronavirus. But we will hold occasional tours, and we also hold events like we had before the coronavirus, we had to cancel. We had an event scheduled.
Yeah.
Cows and vegan cookies is an event that we do where, people can come. We focus on the cows, and people hang out with the cows, and then we have tons of cookies for people to enjoy. So we do events like that, pigs and vegan pizza.
Vegan cookies.
Everything vegan, of course. So we do stuff.
Sorry about that.
We do stuff like that all the time. So once this pandemic is over and it's safe to have events again, we'll hopefully be able to open this place up and have a fun event for people to come out and meet the animals.
Yeah, and so even more now, so it's a little bit harder because you can't do those events. Right. Okay.
Exactly. That's one of the problems with fundraising. Yeah.
Right. All right, ladies, it was wonderful having you on. Thank you so much for coming on. I'd love to have you on again another time.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Lindsay. And thank you everyone for watching.
And
Stay
remember,
safe.
it's happyhen.org/donate. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.